Welcome to a special episode of the MC Knitting Adventures podcast. My name's Colleen.
And my name is May. Welcome returning viewers, and for those of you watching us for the first time, we're so glad you could join us. Today's adventure takes us to a bead store around Barrie, and it's all about beads today. Like we're talking about bead stores, we're talking about bead places online, what else? And knitting with beads, and where you can buy beads.
Sizes of beads, absolutely.
So if you want to know anything about beads, this is the podcast to be watching.
Now, just before we get started, I have a number of items that were designed by Laura Nelkin. And she is a designer who works with knitwear and beads. And she's kind of been that during COVID was the time to get into something new, learn some new skills. And so I started working with beads. Now, the thing is, I bought kits from Laura Nelkin. And that's great when you can, and sometimes there was a deal, and sometimes things were on sale. But sometimes the shipping to come from the States can be a lot. So then the question is, where can I get beads where I don't have to buy the kit? Because the nice thing about a Laura Nelkin kit or a Laura Nelkin pattern is she tells you how many beads and the size of beads. So we need to do some learning about beads before we start looking at patterns with beads. Now, beads have all different kinds of finishes, which we will get to, and they have all different kinds of sizes as well. Now, the main sizes that are used in beads if you're knitting is a size 6 and a size 8. There are also size 11, that's really, really common, but mostly in knitting it's a size 6 and a size 8. Now, the sizes of beads make us think, because you would think that a size 11 would be bigger than a size 6. Not the case. So you have to think that the size gives you an indication of how many beads there are in 1 inch. So what I've done is I've created these lovely things. I put erasers on so they wouldn't go all over the place. So these are size 6 beads, and you can see that there's 6 beads and it's almost 1 inch. It's not going to be exact, but it's going to be close. These are size 8 beads, so there's 8 beads, and once again, almost 1 inch. And then these are the tiny ones. These are size 11 beads, and you can see there's 11 beads there, and once again, almost 1 inch. So it does make things different. The size 11 is just a little bit too thin to get your yarn through it. And so normally, as I said, when you're knitting, you've got things that we have 6s and 8s.
You know that when you're talking about the sizing, when I first started golfing, this is the same idea. It was confusing to me when you use a 3 iron. You want to use your 3 iron because it gives you a longer way to go, as opposed to a 9 iron where you would hit short.
Okay.
So it's kind of the same idea with the beads.
Exactly. Now there's also different finishes. And I don't have beads of all the finishes, but I'm going to try and show you some. So first of all, you have something that's called an opaque bead. And these are a solid color. And so there's an example. These are opaque turquoise. So that's one sample. Then you have beads that can be lined, and these beads are silver lined. So the color on the outside is called blue zircon, but inside it's silver. And so it does give you this reflecting quality on the inside. Now, all these beads I'm showing you right now, they're size 6s, so it makes it a little easier to see. Now, you can also have transparent, which means you can see through them, and these are called transparent teal. You can see I must like this color because they're all kind of being that. Now, there's also something called an AB finish, and that's basically Aurora Borealis. But to make it easier to understand, it's kind of like a rainbow. So these beads are actually a dark topaz, but because of the outside, they have that little rainbow to them as well.
So the patterns that you would get, would they tell you what kind of beads to get, like opaque, or is it your choice where you could go in and just pick what you want?
Good question. Normally, they will just tell you the size of bead and how many beads. So they don't tell you that. So you have to try
pick
and
your own
mix it up.
colors?
Exactly.
Too many choices.
I know. Now, the other thing is there's something called a luster. So these are a seafoam luster. So they have kind of a pearlized sheen. And it's funny, I picked these all out and then I did my research. So that's that. There's also color lined, and I want to show you those. So these have an AB finish on the outside, but on the inside, these ones are black.
What do you mean by AB finish?
AB is that rainbow effect. So if you take a look, the outside of the beads look like it's a rainbow, but you can see the dark core.
Right.
So that's what that is. Now, a lot of the beads that when we went to the bead store we picked up were Japanese beads, and they're Japanese seed beads. And the reason why you get Japanese beads is they have more durable colors, and they also are more uniform in size. So if you're knitting something, then you want to do that. Now there's three main names of Japanese beads. There's Mayuki, there's Toho, and there's Matsuno. There are also in the Mayuki, you can get Mayuki Delica. So there's Mayuki seed beads. It gets very confusing, but I'll try and make it make sense.
Who knew there was so much about beads? I thought you just
Exactly.
went and picked what you liked. But
Exactly. And there's Mayuki Delica, and they are cylindrical in shape. So they're not round, they're cylindrical. And so I'll hold up some for you here. You can see the cylindrical shape. And very uniform, and I will show you some patterns that use those. You can see the importance of those. So that's that. Now, we went to the bead store in Barrie called Mhai O Mhai. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. I said to you as a joke because of the fish, I said mahi mahi. But I think it's Mhai O Mhai. I tried to look on Google to see. And that was in Barrie. Lovely store. The owner of the Mhai O Mhai bead store in Barrie is Carolyn, and she has moved 3 times to get more space. And when we went into that store, oh my goodness, we walked in and we were enjoying the first little space. And then you go through a doorway and there's another little space.
it's like a big warehouse. Well, actually,
Exactly.
you know, Colleen, took some video and I took some
Okay.
pictures. So maybe if you get a visual when we put this up, and then we can talk about when we come back, as you'll be able to see what we saw when we went in. It was a little overwhelming,
Exactly.
but amazing. So I'll just put that up now.
Okay, perfect. as you can see, oh my goodness, an amazing bead store. And I have ordered beads online. And the trick is when you're ordering online, your monitor isn't necessarily the right color. You don't get to see the right finishes.
You get to
quite
feel
the same.
them. There's different textures of beads too.
Exactly. So
and, I mean, you saw in the video, you could see how well organized that store was.
so
by colors and how all that was amazing.
it was.
Yeah.
It was really good. So we were able to see some charms that we were going to get to make some stitch markers or progress keepers. I got some more beads to make some of the things I'm going to show you. And so it was really exciting to be in a store just designed for beads.
And if you are in the Barrie area, it is worth that trip.
Absolutely,
isn't it?
it is.
Wow.
It was great. And
if
Carolyn,
sorry to interrupt, but if you can't find what you're looking for there, you're in trouble.
Exactly, that's right. So Carolyn travels all over. She travels to Africa. She likes to post. So go online. It's Mhai O Mhai beads.com. And I will make sure that I type all these things in the description box below. And she travels all over the place, and she likes to post, and so
She's so friendly, so happy, welcoming,
Exactly, yeah.
helpful. It was just a great little place.
It
And
was.
You saw there was, I don't know if you saw that, you were busy doing, looking at these beads for your knitting.
Right.
But I was going around taking photos. There was a whole section of chairs and bins. You could just sit down on a chair and go
wow.
through these bins. It was great.
Exactly. So my initial thing of why we were going is I wanted to get some size 6 and size 8s. The 8s are a little tricky to find where we are. I have ordered some, and I'll talk about those online. I'll talk about those websites in a minute or two. But I was looking specifically, I wanted to get my Yuki because I wanted to be uniform to put in my knitting, and I wanted to try and get some size 8s as well as size 6. So I'll explain what was the jump off point for me as far as what I needed. So this pattern,
I love this.
yes, I'll let you hold that up.
Okay.
So this is called the Chronos, and that's by Laura Nelkin. So the beads that are in here are size 8. Now when you get the pattern, it'll say you need so many beads of this and so many beads of that. And so I wanted to make some more of these, and so to do that I needed to get some size 8 beads. So that was where things started.
That's nice.
Yes, I'm really happy with that
Yeah.
one. I want to make some more.
Now, what can I ask you what the ring is? Like, what is that?
That
Is
ring,
it metal or?
it is a metal ring, and you crochet over top of it. You do all that work, then you do this part, and then you actually do a little bit of beadwork in the center and attach it into the
Now,
middle.
if you get the kit, you get the ring with it.
Yes, everything that you
And
need
now, if you
comes
just
in.
wanted to make your own without the kit, you could just buy a metal ring and.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Exactly. So that was really the jumping off point for me to go to try and find some more beads. So let's just talk about some of the kits and some of the patterns that I've had. I think there's a lot of them. So let's just see. I'm going to grab all my pattern notes. Oh, May's going to be my assistant
Okay.
here. Here we go. So, as I said, over the last couple of years, I was busy finding things, and then sometimes I would make the pattern again. So for instance, I made her this one, the Filum.
This is the one I'm wearing now.
Oh my gosh! I didn't even notice she had it on. So this I made for May. So that I bought as a kit, and then I thought, well, I think I can make one for me. And so I had some beads, and then I made one. Obviously, I made it in purple. And so that's what I'm saying. Like in the pattern, it says that you need 12, depending on the size 6 beads, 26 size 8 beads. So it tells you the beads that you need. And then your job is to figure out which kind of beads you're going to use.
What colors you would like and everything
Exactly.
else. You know what else, Colleen? I think when I look at all your work that you've done in the past and all the different hooks, you could do a whole podcast just on different clasps and hooks that you could use.
Exactly.
Because I noticed you've used a different little hook here than my hook is very silver.
Exactly.
And this one is two-tone kind of a thing.
Exactly. So once again, when you go onto a website or you go to the bead store, they have all these hooks. If I'm going to make something for the mums, then oftentimes I will make something that's magnetic. just because it's easier for them to do.
And this is great on. You don't even know you have it on. You know how some bracelets, they're in the way or they catch this?
Exactly.
This is great. You don't even know you have it on.
I didn't even know that she had it on. So that's really good. So I've got a whole bunch to show you. This is called the Kairos. Now this is a little different because you need to have a seed bead mix. It still says Japanese beads in the pattern, but you need a seed bead mix. Now, what Laura Nelkin said is kind of take your yarn and you can kind of just put the beads on top and see what stands out, because you don't want it all to blend in, but you don't want it to be too bright. And so this one is a little tricky. If I was going to do a kit, I would do something that needs a seed, like a mix of beads, so you can get a sense of how they get put together.
That's a great idea.
Exactly. And so that's another one that I made for you as well.
Oh, that's
made
nice
that
one.
for me. So that's the Kairos by
Again,
Laura
a
Nelkin.
different kind of catch there
Clasp,
too.
exactly. And once again, Laura Nelkin has an Etsy store, and you can buy those clasps as well.
And we don't get paid by Laura Nelkin either. You just
We
like,
do not.
You just really like her and
Well, I do.
Work.
Exactly. Now, this is called, I'll let you hold that up. So I am part of the Lola's Choice Club. That is a, every 2 months you get a club. So some of them, most of them are some small projects. And the nice thing is you get to try things. So this is the Mingle. And the instructions in this one say that you need 8 grams of size 8 Japanese seed beads. It says in 4 colors.
Now, did they talk about the kind of yarn you would need? Because this yarn feels different than maybe this yarn.
Right. So this says 5/2 mercerized pearl cotton. And I've been looking at that. So if you are a weaver, or if you know a weaver, you might have this 5/2. We went to the yarn store one day and I asked them the question because I don't know what 5/2 is. And then they had to go ask somebody else who had to ask somebody else to try and figure it out. So you either have to buy exactly that, which you can order online. I know yarncanada.ca or .com, they have this. I think the one in Canada that's easiest to get is Ashford. But it is a pearlized cotton because you don't want it to stretch too much.
Oh, that's what the deal is. Okay.
That's the reason why that's a little different.
Well, that's
so
good to
that's
know.
called the Mingle. Now, this is called, and I'll just find
This is
my
another
pattern.
nice one.
Exactly.
Now, did you pick out these colors again?
Nope, this is one of those kits. This is what
Okay.
came. So it's called the Bead Aisle Cuff. And this one says specifically, this is kind of a double wrap, that you need 3 colors, size 8 Miyuki Delica beads. And you can see in this that those beads are very cylindrical and it makes them all stand out the same way.
Right.
So it makes them easy to do because what it needs to look like is fair isle knitting. And so all of those beads need to be exactly the same size and the same shape. And so that's what that's all
That's
about.
beautiful, that work. That's nice.
I really, really like that
Yeah.
one. So that's good. Now, what else do we have? So next we have, I'm going to let you hold that
Okay.
up. So these are called the Migra mints. Now this one, I definitely did buy this as a kit, but I'm telling you, you could buy this as just get the pattern. And you need some size 6 and some size 8. There
Very
you
nice.
go.
Really nice.
And I really, really like them. I'm not sure how warm. Actually, the wool would be warm. But I think they're really, really
You could
pretty.
wear them under a pair of mitts or something like that.
Oh,
too.
you totally could.
Yeah.
Yes, I think they're very stylish. So I really
Yeah.
like them. And obviously, a color that
Yeah.
I enjoy. So that's that. So it was neat to have to do because you have to move the beads along. And
Those are
makes it
nice. The nice yarn on that too.
I really, really like them. I
That's
find
nice.
that a lot of the yarn that Laura Nelkin uses, once it's blocked, get really, really soft. Now, this is a Pioneer cuff. It looks kind of tiny.
It does. Is this for your
That's
wrist?
for my wrist. It's called the Pioneer cuff. And once again, I'm just telling you the kind of instructions that they are. So this one says that you need 4 check crystal beads, 2 snap clasps, and 60 size 8 glass seed beads. So it doesn't say specifically whether you need Japanese or whether you need check ones. In the pattern, the thing, it was check beads, and we'll talk about those. So check seed beads are not as uniform, and the color isn't quite as durable, but they are less expensive. So when I'm looking at Miyuki beads, I know that I need to do that in maybe a higher end thing, or I need to, if I want something to be special, then I'm going to work with those. Or if I need the beads to be very uniform, then I need to do that.
You know a lot about beads.
Well, you know, all these patterns
There's a lot to
really
know.
helpful. Now, the latest thing, and we got this at the Purple Sock, was I found these kits, and this is called the Beaded Waves Cuff. And I did get 2 of them, but I'll tell you, it tells you right in it what you need. I'll let you hold the 2 of them up. So I have not blocked these yet.
They're nice. They're heavy, a little heavier.
They are
Maybe
a little
'cause there's
heavier
a lot more beads
there's
in
a
them.
lot more beads in them.
Right.
But I like them. I like how it's done. And these ones use size 6 beads. And one of the one of the kits, the beads actually were too bulky. And so I ended up using still a size 6 bead, but a different size 6 bead.
I see. Nice.
Exactly.
Those are really nice.
I really, really like that one. Now I am wearing the Beadkerloop.
This is beautiful on though. I love it.
I really, really like it, and the beads are quite a combination of the finishes. So if you remember, I talked about the different finishes. So some are silver lined, some can be color lined, some can be transparent, some can be matte. And so the neat thing is when you get that kit, then you can see what that means. That's what I've done a couple of times. I thought, I don't know what a seed bead mix is. And then once you see what she's put together, it's good. Now
on this, you can't really see that there's even beads in that.
Right,
but,
right.
But there is.
Now, another one that's similar is the Beadkerchief, and it is actually like a little shawl.
And this is nice too.
Yeah. Now, what I like about this one,
This is beautiful.
I'm really happy with this one. What's nice about this is you do all this knitting before you ever have the beads on. Which is good. So you end up having to cut your yarn to put the beads on. That's okay. But what's nice about this is you can put beads on top of this, just like I was saying before. You can put beads on top of it, and then you can say, you know, that blends in too much. Nope, this is okay. I like that color.
That's
And so
gorgeous.
you can kind of design your own mix.
It's a nice choice. You did a great job.
Yes, I'm
And
happy.
it gives it a little bit of weight on there too.
Exactly,
Doesn't it? It's kind
exactly.
It does weigh a little bit when you get a lot of those beads on there.
Exactly.
Now these patterns that you have here, these are all paid for patterns.
All paid for patterns.
Okay.
So the nice thing is you buy the kit, you get the pattern with it. But what I like is then you can use the pattern again. And that helps you to design things, which is great. Now, the last thing that I'm going to show you above Laura Nelkin is called the Reversible Undulating Waves Cowl. And that's by Laura Nelkin. What a surprise. Now, let's talk about this.
Oh, this is nice too. Wow.
So this has lovely beads in it. And I want to let you know part of the reason. I mean, I love the patterns. Laura Nelkin gives you videos that show you how to do certain skills that you need to do the projects. But in this case, I wanted this yarn. And so in the kits that she had on Etsy, this was gone. So I ordered the yarn, and then I emailed Laura Nelkin. I said, I really want to do the same beads, but I'm not quite sure which ones, and I know I have to order them online, and can you give me a recommendation? So nice. She emailed me back, you know, within the day or two and said, here's where I ordered them from. These are colors that I would choose, and I really, really like
It turned out nice.
Yeah, I really, really
nice
like
choice. Yeah, this is gorgeous too.
Exactly. I'm really
Really
happy
nice.
with that
Good
one
job.
too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, let's talk about purchases. Where shall we start? So let's first of all talk about things that I ended up buying online, and where I got them from. So the place that Laura Nelkin mentioned in the States is called caravanbeads.com. I'm going to put all the websites in our description box. And so there's 2 different sizes. You needed some size 6 and you needed some size 8. And those beads came quickly. They have clasps, they have all kinds of things. So understand it's coming from the States. Shipping's going to be a little bit more, but I really, really like that. So
Okay.
that's those beads.
Unless you're American.
And then life is
Life
good.
is good.
So that's those ones. Now, I also ordered some from a place that is in Cambridge, and that is Iguana Beads.
And we've been there. in
We
Cambridge.
did. So what I did, it's iguanabeads.com. I ordered this stuff and picked it up, which was good because at the time you couldn't go in and pick. So I ordered it and picked it up, and they were really, really helpful. So I like that place. Now, there's another place that I ordered from, and that's called thatbeadlady.com, also in Canada. And so these came from there. So she had delica beads, she had Mayuki seed beads, all kinds of good things there.
Nice. All reasonably priced, the same price.
You know what?
kind of thing?
Great prices.
Right, good.
Absolutely. So that's good. Now, we also have a place that's near us in St. Thomas, which is called Oasis Beads. They have all different kinds of charms as well.
And if you're ever in the St. Thomas area, it's worth the trip. It's in a mall in there.
Yes.
And it's worth the trip. They've got lots of things in there. You could spend a whole morning.
Lots of crystals, lots of things that way.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So they now have shipping. Initially they didn't, so we had to wait until they could open due to COVID. But we've been able to find some things in there as
They've
well.
been great.
And then, lo and behold, there's Michael's. And you would think, okay, what does Michael have? So Michael's has Mayuki beads, but size 11s. I don't think I've seen any size 8s. So these are some size 11s. They're very, very tiny, but they also have Toho size 6. And they do have some of those that are size 8 as well. But it's a little bit more restricted in that. So now let's talk about Mhai O Mhai. Oh my, oh my. So when we went in there, as you mentioned, we walked in and the first thing has a lot of charms in it. So I'm going to be talking about things that I purchased.
I could have spent a whole morning just looking at the charms. I love looking at the charms. They have, like they even had them music charms, animal charms.
Exactly.
Like, anything you could absolutely think of, they had a charm in it.
Exactly. It
was beautiful.
And so I was picking some things that might make progress keepers. So I picked up some little Christmas trees. I don't know why I was thinking Christmas trees, but you never know. Christmas.
You always eat the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of this stuff, so this is kind of cool. It's like shopping for me.
Exactly. And there's some little lotus flowers.
Nice.
I liked those. And then we picked up some wee sheep.
Oh, those are always nice. Sheep's always good.
Yeah,
sheeps
are good. And I picked up some lobster clasps. Now these also have the rings that need to join them up. So those make great progress keepers. And I bought the bigger ones because that actually is easier to hook on your knitting. So that's those. And then you were talking about the ring on that other thing.
Right.
Now this one, I didn't remember the size. This is a little bit bigger. So what I'm going to have to do in that pattern is I'm going to have to add some extra things. I think I bought too big a size.
Maybe a little bit bigger.
Maybe a little bit bigger. So that's okay. I can just join it up differently. But that was another thing I was looking for.
Did you just sells rings? That's kind of cool.
She does. Absolutely. Yeah.
I thought maybe that was a keychain thing, but it's not. It's just a metal ring.
Just a metal ring.
That's a great idea.
Exactly. So I was thrilled about that. So that's that stuff. Then on the way through, before I got to all the beads, she had these. And these are stainless steel earrings. So there's some little ones that kind of hammered. These ones are not hammered, but hammered metal. And these ones, not very expensive, but I thought, oh, that's nice. Because I like to have earrings that I can wear sleeping and, especially for going camping. So that was that. That was on the way. I picked up some craft wire. I can make some stitch markers or maybe make one of those necklacey things that you had. Cool. So I'm happy about that. And then, then
I bought some things too.
Yes.
But I don't know where my things are. Oh. They're probably in a drawer somewhere.
Safe and sound.
Safe and sound.
They are.
Yeah, I know I bought charms. I know I did.
You did.
I just have to find them.
And I know you were looking for beads to make lamps, but
I was.
Did they have any that would work?
They really didn't have any beads. Well, I'm sure they did that would work. I picked up a couple of things. Right. But I remember I picked up some beads too. That just reminded me of that.
Right.
And I'm going to try and make some miniature lamps out of them.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting when I do that.
Exactly.
But I don't have them here today, which is unfortunate.
Exactly.
If I had known we were going to do this, I probably would have gotten them out. Anyway, you've got enough here that's overwhelming enough.
All right. Now, then, remember I needed for that pattern, I needed some size 8s. So here we go.
And this is where you got all the size 8s at the store?
I did.
And why did you get all these 8s there? Because they're hard to come by?
size 8s were hard to find, and I needed to try and get colors that were matching that would go into something like this. So I was trying to find 3. Now that was tricky, I must admit, to try and find 3. So these are all Miyuki seed beads, and so there's lots in that container. They were reasonably priced, so I'm really, Mhai O Mhai, my, so good. So those were the size 8s. Now, when I wanted to try and find colors that would go, that perhaps I didn't have, I went into the world of the check seed beads. So they're not in little containers. Wow. They're like this. So we have some that have like a bronze finish.
And you bought these in the same store?
Same store.
Right.
They're not quite as uniform, but they're still lovely.
Why are they not coming in a tube? Because all the other beads coming in a tube. What's the difference?
Well, Miyuki beads are more expensive.
Okay.
So they are different that way. I'm sure there are more beads here.
Yes.
Less money and more beads here. So I think it's cheaper for them.
They're not as good a quality, or
they're check seed beads, so they're good, but they're not quite as good as the Miyuki ones. But honestly, if you're just starting out, oh my goodness,
this is what you want to get.
These are great.
These would be good.
I really, really like them. So I tried to pick some colors that would go with the other colors, and then I could kind of mix and match. So you're going to see that in our podcast. You'll see those.
Right. Those are great.
I'm really
you could probably start up your own little bead store with what's going on here.
Well, I think I was trying to find colors, and I think it was the first time I'd actually been in a bead store where I could look at the colors. Now, these are size 6s.
Sorry.
That's what happens when you buy too many. There we go. So these are all size 6 ones, different finishes, different colors. I really, really like them, and the tubes like to slip. But they're really nice, that I think I'm going to be able to use them to do different things with them. So you're going to be seeing those in the future. So I had a wonderful time at Mhai O Mhai. Carolyn was lovely, very helpful. She was able to point me in the right direction when I needed to look for things. And then, I mean, like those little earrings I found that were, I think, $9–10. They weren't very expensive. They're stainless steel. They're not going to tarnish like silver does. So lots of places to find beads. You can get beads online. I know that all the places that I ordered from were great to work with.
Good.
But if you live anywhere near Barrie, or you need to go on a road trip just for fun, Mhai O Mhai is a great place to go. And Carolyn's a great
And also St. Thomas is good.
St. Thomas is good.
And Kitchener. Did we not? Is it Kitchener?
Cambridge, I think.
Cambridge, yeah. But you'll have all that stuff in there.
I will have all that in the description box. I'm going to try and make the links work. Okay. Takes me a little while to figure it all out, but I'm going to try and do that. If not, it'll be in our Ravelry group. You'll be able to have the links there. I'll try and do that there.
Also, if you're not a podcast watcher and you want a knitting podcast, make sure you watch our podcast, MC Knitting Adventures. Exactly. And you'll see some other podcasts that are coming up. And we look forward to seeing you next time. And subscribe. And
give us a thumbs up.
Yes.
Comment down below if there's something you'd like to see, or if you have an idea for a bead pattern, or if you have any questions. I know I've talked a lot. I get excited about things. I use my hands when I talk. It drives me crazy.
Well, it's good that you know a lot of stuff about this.
Exactly. It's been a learning curve, and I love to learn. So it's been great. So thanks so much for watching, and until next time,
you take